Compound interest is the type of interest that's earned pretty much everywhere. There's something called simple interest. We're not going to be covering that in this particular set of videos. But pretty much everything in the world is compound interest. So what does compound interest mean? Let's go through it. So let's say you borrow $800 at 12% interest per year. Interest per year. How much will you owe after 5 years? So, after year 1, you borrowed $800, and now you owe an extra 12% interest. And the way that you add 12% to something is you multiply it by 1 plus the amount that grew, which another way of writing that would be 800 times 1.12, which is going to be $896. Now, the way compound interest works is that you now pay interest on, so there was $96 in interest, and you now pay interest on that interest. So in year 2, it would be the amount at the end of year 1 times 1.12, which would be 896 times 1.12. Well, I threw the 3 in there, but it seemed to have not made too much of a difference. So we're good. So let's say this was $1,003.52. Now, another way of looking at that is, where did this 896 come from? Right? So, the 896 was 800 times 1.12, which is 800 times 1.12. Those guys are that, times another 1.12. Or, another way of writing that would be 800 times 1.12 squared, which would still give us 1,003.52. Similarly, in year 3, so the kind of recursive way of doing it would be, we would take the $1,003.52 from the end of year 2, and we would multiply it by 1.12, which, if you did it correctly, would be about $1,123.94. Or, another way of writing it is that the 1,003.52 is really just 800 times 1.12 times 1.12. So it's going to be, so this one is going to be the 800 times 1.12 times 1.12 times this 1.12. Or another way of writing it would be 800 times 1.12 cubed. And then in year 4, it's going to be 800 times 1.12 to the power of 4. And at the end of year 5, it's going to be 800 times 1.12 to the 5. So let's make a formula out of this. So we're going to go make a formula out of this thing. So we're going to define some variables. So we're going to say that the P stands for the principal, which is the starting amount. N is going to be the number of compounding periods. And we're going to talk about N a little bit more, but N is going to be the number of times interest is paid. So in the previous example, by year 5, we had paid interest once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So n would be 5 in this one over here. Right? And then I is going to be the interest per compounding period. So the interest was 12% per year, and we compounded every year. And so the interest per compounding period was 0.12. And remember, this was the formula we got at the end for the 5 years. If you look at the letters, 800 was our starting amount, so that's going to be our P. 1 plus I is the interest per compounding period, and that's that. So this over here is going to be our formula for compound interest. And then we're going to now apply it to a bunch of different examples.